Welcome back, seventh graders. I hope you had a fabulous spring break. Hope you took some time to watch some of the groovy movies I put up for you over the break. And I hope that you are rested and relaxed and ready to rock and roll as we get into week 5 of distance learning. Exciting stuff. We've done all sorts of yo-yoing all over early American history since we've started this whole process of doing your classes from home. We went and did the Articles of Confederation and the Constitutional Convention. Then we went back to what we were doing before the break, and we did the American Revolution and the events leading up through it. Now we're back after the Constitutional Convention. Oh my, gee willikers. And so we're back in a normal timeline. And that is with the presidency of George Washington. POTUS number 1. Hip hip hooray. George Washington. Today's the reading is a quick little introductory about like what I've been going through Washington's mind as he is selected to be the first president. So the objectives for this lesson are to analyze the reasons why he was the overwhelming choice to be the first president of the USA underneath the U.S. Constitution. So after independence, Washington was easily the most powerful man in the Western Hemisphere. No one had as much military power behind his voice. Nobody has much political power. He was widely popular, renowned, and loved. And had he been a different person of a different mind, he easily could have established himself as the new King George of the Americas. Thankfully, he wasn't. Washington earnestly believed in the principles that he was fighting for in the Revolution as the general and commander-in-chief of the Continental Army. And he does something that no other conquering general in history had done before him. If you look at the people like Caesar or Attila the Hun or any of these great Alexander, great conquering generals in history, they conquered so they could put themselves in power. But Washington recognized that the power that he had with this popularity, with this love and devotion of his army and his people was scary for the prospects of a democracy, of sustaining a government of the people instead of one person ruling. So Washington does one of the most important acts that he has in his entire history, in that he voluntarily surrenders the command of the Continental Army and gives it to the Congress, to the representatives of the people. Lets the Congress decide it. If you look, this is a painting that is in the Capitol Rotunda in Washington, D.C. Here you see Washington meeting with the members of the Congress and turning over his sword and his command of the army, giving them the control of the army, that one person shouldn't have it now that the war is over. The artist also threw Martha Washington up there in a gallery that she was not there. Not exactly historically accurate, but that's very common with paintings that we see like this. So Washington was pretty much content with, now that the war was over, to go back to Mount Vernon, retire, be a farmer, be an architect, go back to what he was doing before it. But again and again and again, Washington is asked to take more and more of a leadership role within the government. Even after he steps down from the command of the army, people keep turning to him more and more. Please, George, like everything that we fought for is not really going well. You're the only person at the North, the South, the big states, the small states that everybody respects, that foreign countries respect. George, we need you. The country needs you. And Washington felt a deep sense of humility. he was reluctant to step into the role of politician. He didn't really feel as comfortable in that position, but he recognized that the country was asking for his help, recognizing that he was the only one that had that wide of popular support, that also was holding true to the principles of the revolution, that he had to step in, even though it wasn't his personal desire to do so. He had to put the country over himself. That's why Washington's often seen as the model of civic virtue, putting the needs of the country over your own personal desires. To this end, one of the first things that Washington is called upon is to lead the what will become the Constitutional Convention, and act as president of the Constitutional Convention. We spoke about how his role within that, in securing a new government after the failure of the Articles of Confederation, securing a strong government within the Constitution, that he did not overly push his agenda or his way during those meetings. Once again, knowing his popularity and the respect that he commanded in the room, he wanted to be a decision called upon by everyone, not just himself. So he stayed back on that, which is once again a sign of his humility. And this idea that somebody can make sure that one person can step back, make sure everyone's following the rules, and then execute and carry out the rules they make, that ideal is what is used in the foundation and the Constitution in the second article in the formation of the President of the United States. He is kind of the model for that position, the way that he acted in the Constitutional Convention. Here you see George here presiding over everyone signing the Constitution. There's James Madison, the father of the Constitution. Next one, what I like with this one, you can see the compare and contrast how Washington, a really tall dude, one of our tallest presidents, next to Madison, our shortest president. All right. So once the Constitution is officially ratified in 1787, actually not 1787, but it takes 17. It's ratified through the Constitutional Convention, but then the states start ratifying it in 1788. We have 9 out of the 13, enough to put the Constitution to effect. In fact, when Washington is elected president, there's a number of states that don't even vote for him as president because they weren't part of the country yet. New York, North Carolina, Rhode Island. But Washington is the overwhelming choice to be the person that is nominated for president. In fact, he's the only person that is elected unanimously. Nobody really runs against him because he's so overwhelming. And once again, he doesn't want the job. He feels that the role of the presidency is very powerful, but he recognizes that the country is asking for his help. And as an act of humility, he's willing to do this very difficult job. Think about it. He needs to build a nation out of nothing. We want our independence, but we don't have a government. We don't have a country. The government that we tried to put in place fell on its face, and now he needs to clean up this massive mess. It's no wonder why he didn't really want to do it on that front either. It's not an easy job that he's agreeing to do, especially with the constraints that the Constitution puts on the power of president. So, my question for you is, why do you think that Washington was so reluctant to take the leadership positions that are being offered to him within the new government of the United States? And why do you think, despite his reluctance, thanks, Auto Recovery, appreciate that. Keep going. There you go. Why, despite his reluctance, do you think that Washington was willing to take on these responsibilities? Write your answer below the video in the comments section. I look forward to reading what you write. Have a wonderful Monday.